To the outside world, Elias Thorne was the embodiment of the London dream. From his high-rise apartment in Canary Wharf, the shimmering glass towers of the financial district looked like a kingdom he had successfully conquered. At 34, he was a senior analyst for a top-tier hedge fund, his wardrobe a collection of bespoke Savile Row suits, and his calendar a meticulously guarded fortress of high-stakes meetings. But inside the fortress, the walls were crumbling. Before we see how Elias broke those walls down, look at your own life. Are you building a kingdom, or are you building a cage? If you're tired of living on autopilot and ready to reclaim your soul, hit that subscribe button right now. Don't wait for a better time. That's the trap Elias fell into. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the blueprint that follows. Your future self is counting on you to take this one small action. Every morning, Elias woke up at 6:30 a.m., not to the sun, but to the violent vibration of his iPhone. His first act of the day wasn't a breath of gratitude, it was a desperate plunge into the digital abyss. Before his feet even touched the floor, he was drowning in Bloomberg terminals, urgent emails from New York, and the chaotic pulse of the Nikkei. His life had become a series of automatic reactions. He drank burnt espresso to feel awake and took melatonin to feel tired. He was physically present in boardrooms, but mentally he was a ghost, haunted by the nagging feeling that he was running a race on a treadmill that was slowly accelerating toward a cliff. He had the wealth, yet he felt bankrupt. He had the prestige, but he lacked a soul. He was waiting for the right time to start living, waiting for a vacation to breathe, waiting for a promotion to finally feel ready to be happy. The tragedy wasn't that Elias was failing. It was that he was succeeding at a life he no longer wanted. The breaking point didn't come with a bang. It came with a stumble. It was a Tuesday, shortly after midnight. Elias was walking home across London Bridge after a grueling 18-hour shift. The cold October rain was turning the city into a blurred watercolor of gray and neon. Suddenly, his chest tightened, a sharp radiating heat that made the world tilt. He gripped the cold stone railing, his breath coming in ragged gasps. "Take a breath, Elias. The bridge isn't going anywhere, but you might." Elias turned to see a man standing a few feet away, leaning casually against the railing, despite the downpour. It was Julian, a man who had once been Elias's favorite university professor, a brilliant mind who had mysteriously walked away from a tenure-track position at Oxford years ago. Julian looked different. He wasn't wearing a suit. He looked vibrant, his eyes clear and remarkably calm amidst the storm. "Julian," Elias managed to choke out. "What are you doing here? Ha ha! I'm living," Julian replied with a sad smile. "Something I forgot to do for a long time." They stood in the rain as Julian told a story Elias would never forget. Julian had spent his life waiting for someday. He waited until he had enough tenure to travel with his wife. He waited until the mortgage was paid to spend mornings in the garden. But someday never arrived. His wife passed away in a sudden accident 3 years ago, leaving Julian with a mountain of achievements and a valley of regret. "I spent 60 years waiting for the right time to be present," Julian said, his voice trembling with an emotion that pierced Elias's professional armor. "I realized too late that the future is a ghost. It begs for your time, but it never pays you back. Every excuse I made to delay my happiness was a theft. I was stealing the life I could have had. Don't be like me, Elias. Don't wait until the silence is the only thing left to listen to." The next morning, Elias didn't reach for his phone. He met Julian at a small, quiet cafe in Southwark. Julian sat him down and handed him a weathered notebook. "You don't need a year to change your life," Julian whispered. "You need 30 minutes, but you must stop waiting for motivation. Motivation is a fair-weather friend. You need an altar of discipline." Julian then shared the 30-minute Alchemy, a 3-tiered ritual designed to reclaim the human spirit from the machine of modern life. 1. The first 10 minutes. The void, radical honesty. Most people flee from silence because they are afraid of what they will hear. In these 10 minutes, you sit in absolute stillness. No apps, no music, no guided voices. You look at your life with radical honesty. You ask, "Who am I?" when no one is watching. This isn't meditation. It's a confrontation. It is the act of anchoring your soul before the world tries to sail it away. 2. The second 10 minutes. The architect, the single win. The mistake people make. Julian explained, is trying to change everything at once. Instead, use these 10 minutes to design one non-negotiable win for the day. Not a to-do list of 50 items, but one habit that builds trust with yourself. If you say you will walk for 20 minutes, you do it. This builds the muscle of integrity. You stop being a person who breaks promises to themselves. 3. The final 10 minutes, proprioceptive awakening. The vessel. This was the new element Elias had never heard of. Julian taught him to move his body not for fitness, but for awareness. It involved slow, deliberate movements, feeling the tension in the fascia, the weight of the limbs, the expansion of the lungs. It was about inhabiting the body again. Most people live from the neck up, Julian said. To change your life, you must first come back into your skin. Elias began the next day. It was brutal. The old Elias fought back with a vengeance. On the third morning, the snooze button felt like a siren's song. His brain screamed, "You need the sleep. One email won't hurt. This is pointless." This was the winter of resistance, the gap between the decision to change and the manifestation of results. He remembered the video transcript he had once seen. The right time doesn't exist. You build discipline. He forced himself into the void. The silence was deafening. He realized how much he hated his job's ethical shortcuts. In the architect phase, he chose one habit, writing for 10 minutes a day, something he hadn't done since he was a hopeful student. In the proprioceptive phase, he felt the rust in his joints and the shallow nature of his breath. By day 14, something shifted. The momentum Julian promised began to hum. Elias found that because he had already won the war in his bedroom at 6 a.m., the fires at the office didn't burn him as easily. He was more decisive. He stopped seeking approval from his boss and started seeking it from the man he saw in the mirror. He realized that discipline wasn't a cage. It was the key to the cage. He was no longer a victim of his schedule. He was its sovereign. His colleagues noticed. The ghost had been replaced by a man with a steady gaze and a terrifyingly clear sense of purpose. He wasn't working more. He was working better because he was no longer running away from himself. 1 year after that rainy night on London Bridge, Elias stood in the same spot. He had recently resigned from the hedge fund to start a consultancy firm that focused on sustainable investments. He looked younger, leaner, and for the first time at peace. He realized the core truth. Your future self is begging you to stop wasting time. Every morning that you choose the snooze over the soul, you are voting for a life of mediocrity. Every time you wait to feel ready, you are giving power to a lie. The 30 minutes Elias spent each morning weren't just about productivity. They were a daily act of self-love. By showing up for himself, he built a reservoir of trust that no market crash or personal crisis could drain. I am not asking you for a lifetime. I am asking you for 30 days. Starting tomorrow, I challenge you to reclaim your first 30 minutes. First, the phone quarantine. Your phone is a thief. Lock it away. Let it stay in another room, silent and forgotten. You do not touch it. You do not glance at it, and you do not let the digital world invade your sanctuary until these 30 minutes are yours. Then 10 minutes of the void. You must sit in the raw, unpolished silence. No distractions, no noise, just you. Listen to that quiet voice inside the person you've been ignoring while you were busy chasing the world. Meet yourself in the stillness. Next 10 minutes of the architect. This is where you design your destiny. Pick one single positive habit, just one. Don't negotiate. Commit to it with the cold, unwavering ferocity of a soldier. This isn't about the habit, it's about building a bridge of trust back to your own soul. Finally, 10 minutes of awakening. Don't just exist live. Move your body until you feel the blood coursing through your veins. Feel the rhythmic drum of your heartbeat. Let every breath remind you that you are not a machine. You are alive. You are here, and today belongs to you.